good morning, good afternoon, East Coast, good morning, West Coast. This is the Restaurant Technology Guys. We're coming to you live from New York. Thanks for your participation today. Jeremy and I have been here in New York all week participating in the NRF, the largest the largest retail show in the country. 103 years this has been going on. Jeremy, why are we here talking Retail Federation show and our niche is hospitality?
Well, and I mean, part of why we come to the show, and we've been a couple of years in years past, is just because typically the retail groups are adopting technology before the restaurant groups, whether that's volume or their margins are higher. But we typically will see either grocery or retail technology hit them first, and then it rolls to the restaurants. And so we're here really as a scouting trip to go figure out what's coming next. And so we found some really cool stuff, and we'll talk here about it today.
Excellent. So let's talk about the top 5 things that we like best here at NRF. Number 5, mobile payment. We come to the show, we know that there's 20, 25, 30 different mobile payment apps, meaning the consumer has the opportunity to pay from a tablet, pay from their phone, and close their check and move on. What did we find?
Yeah, it was. I mean, if any of you read my predictions from the blog that I wrote, I don't know, when I was flying out here, and I think we dropped it on Monday. We expected to see a bunch of different mobile payment providers, and we were seeking them out because it's something that, with the advent of EMV and what happened with Target and Neiman Marcus and some others that haven't even been released, it's something everybody's asking about. How do I get more secure payment? How do I make my consumer have the ability to pay with their mobile phone and not have to use a credit card? It was weird. I mean, Gary and I walked around, talked to people. We went into booths with Google, and they're like, yeah, we have an API, you can do it. But there was no clear leader in the space at all, whether it be retail or hospitality, that said this is the way to do it.
All Me Too products right now, no one differentiating themselves, all at the basement level of development, in my opinion, and probably the biggest disappointment of the show. We are meeting later today with a company based here in New York, called MyCheck. They're integrated to PosiTouch as we speak, so we're going to be in those stores this afternoon. This is something, folks, that we will revisit with you because this is the future. And as Jeremy had mentioned, with the latest breaches and the consumerization is a new tagline that we're hearing time and again. With the consumerization of tablets and phones and making it easier, mobile payment has to be right around the corner. We just can't even tell you anything that's great or that you should be aware of or look out for this.
Yeah, we were pretty bummed that we didn't find any clear leaders that said this is who's doing it and who's doing it well. As we continue to ask the vendors, ask the partners, ask everybody, and everybody kind of said, yeah, not really there. Everybody's talking about it, but nobody's doing anything with it. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes in the coming years.
So we'll report back to you guys on number 5, mobile payment. Stay tuned on that because, like I mentioned, we're going to be out here this afternoon with customers that are using an app integrated to PosiTouch called MyCheck. And frankly, they've developed a partnership with PayPal that does offer them the ability to differentiate themselves. Now let's see what the restaurateur says about it. Good, bad, indifferent, increased sales, decreased sales. What's the effect?
Yeah, so. And I would also say that, and we're in New York, so the population of both people and restaurants is very high where we're going. But I think with some market saturation, and this MyCheck partner is integrated with all of the hospitality players and all of the very large hospitality players in Micros and Aloha and PosiTouch. So with that, we'll see how the brands like it, and is it working, and what percentage. Ironically, we did have dinner on Sunday evening with somebody that has a mobile payment, and they're a nationally recognized retailer, nationally recognized brand that does it. And they said it's such a small percentage, and I think they did it best of just about anybody that's out there, and it's still a very large percentage. It's a counter service place, and talking with their IT guy, it was like, yeah, guests really aren't adopting it, even though everybody's talking about it. So it's just kind of weird to see.
That large Northwest coffee-making somebody along those lines. But yeah, even I think what surprised us with that in that conversation with Mark was that that percentage was, what did he say, less than 5%?
Yeah, 10%, other than in certain specific markets. So,
yeah. So we'll come back to you guys with what's happening with mobile payment as it continues to develop. Number 4 item that we saw, multi-channel sales. As you see on the infographic that we've got on the screen, 94% of shoppers find in-store shopping easy. So 9.5% or 9.5 out of 10 customers is happy with their in-store experience, and they found it to be a hit the easy button type experience. 74% of shoppers find online shopping easy. So still not bad areas or an opportunity for improvement there. And then 26% of shoppers, Jeremy, find mobile shopping easy. So although we're at a retail show, the message to hospitality?
Yeah, you've got to adapt, because if you don't, if you don't do it as well as somebody like a brand like Chipotle that you see on the screen here, you're going to miss sales and you're going to miss opportunities. And you miss too many of those sales, you'll cease to exist.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I call it the Amazon effect within the retail space, and everybody's talking about it, that they have to have multi-channel. And I think, quite honestly, especially in quick service and fast casual, you have to have multiple ways to enter your order, and you have to meet the consumer where the consumer is shopping. If that is on a mobile app, if that's on their website, if that's order ahead, if that's call ahead, if that's reserve ahead, you've got to be able to do those things, because if you don't, and I can tell you a quick story for myself, I use the Chipotle app, and you know what? When I'm really busy and I've only got 30 minutes for lunch, I'll use the app, go in and pick up my burrito. It'll be quick and in and out really quickly, versus going and standing in the line, waiting for 15 minutes to get up to the front and then leaving. Well, that doesn't work. And so we're seeing retailers adopting it. And so some really large chains like Chipotle have done a great job with it. I think that we're going to have to see those small 5, 10 store chains, as well as mom and pops, are going to have to adopt some of these solutions, because if they don't, they're going to be left out in the cold without sales, and eventually cease to exist.
Yeah, XYZ restaurant on the corner of Main Street. At this point, again, to use and not to overuse consumerization and technology, but offering your consumer, as Jeremy had mentioned, is meet them where they're going to be and then make it easy. So understanding that, because we're talking to restaurateurs all day, every day, understanding that there's an expense involved in offering these different platforms, boy, oh boy, we better be aware of it and investigating it so we're prepared, because tomorrow is happening now.
Very much so, very much so.
Number 3, digital signage. As you guys see on the screen, on the far left is a vending machine, and leveraging digital images of the applications. Now, the one that we're showing you there is all retail products, but we found out recently about, what was it called?
It was a burrito box, I think is what the guys are dubbing it. It's a place in Los Angeles that it's a vending machine that makes a made-to-order burrito. And I know in Asia they've got these all over the place, but it can augment your brand. I mean, I know Sprinkles Cupcakes worked with one of these vendors to do a vending machine that will produce Sprinkles Cupcakes and put them out for people. And so using digital to engage your guests, to allow them to see your products and potentially order products. I mean, I think that's the farthest extreme end, but that's kind of, we came here to really ferret out what's out there, and that's probably the farthest end. But there's some other products, and Gary, talk a little bit about.
In the middle, you guys see an example of a barbecue place. I think these folks were down in Austin, Texas, but the manufacturer of the hardware, you see the typical digital menu board, but on what they've also included in that menu board, which I thought was intriguing and creates a number of different marketing opportunities, depending on how creative you get, is they'd inserted video. So you've got a panel that is addressing menu items, or two panels that are addressing menu items, and a third panel that is offering another visual engagement. And this is what we're seeing time and again, and illustrated at this show is restaurateurs and retailers alike have got to embrace digital engagement. Make it so, I guess in some ways, Jeremy, it'd be a visual representation of Twitter and their 140 characters or less. Well, our minds viewing some type of digital media is able to process that information quickly and engage us or not.
Well, and it's been proven that the items that are highlighted on a menu with pictures sell significantly higher than the items that don't have pictures, and it's just a written description. And so using rich media to be able to engage your guests, to be able to allow them to see what they're going to get. Obviously, the brand has to deliver on what they saw and deliver the product in the same way that they saw it on the video, but it's huge. That item on the right was probably one of the weirdest digital medium that we found, but it allows you to do full motion video in the form of what looks like a human being that they've videotaped, and they are going to deliver a brand message. There's a grocer here on the East Coast in New Jersey that's testing it, that truthfully the CEO is recording a message, and it's a full motion video. When you go up and stand in front of it, it starts talking to you, and so you get that consistent message. How we saw it might be able to work for the restaurants is a digital greeter. You walk in, and whether it's at the takeout counter or it's at the front desk, you get the consistent message. Like I said, it's a little creepy when you first walk by it, but it's something that as you start to think about, that's coming. Digital is not going away. Digital menuing, digital signage, telling your guests what you want, getting, one of our customers dubbed the word craveability, getting the craveability factor into digital medium to engage those guests is going to happen, and it's a less expensive solution than you might think, especially in the just menu board environment in the middle there. Yeah. Oftentimes it's comparable expense to doing true backlit menu boards.
Yeah, and then, and to your point about comparable expense is the folks we were talking to yesterday at Blue Ribbon Chicken was if they change their menus, they're pulling that board down and disposing of it. Even if it's a foam back board, there's an expense to print replacement, put back up, so on and so forth. So the cost justification or the ROI on a digital menu board and the simplicity and the ease of, depending on if you're multi-units or single units, to be able to roll that out quickly out to the masses is pretty measurable at the end of the day. Let's give a description, Jeremy, on the photo on the right of that image of the young lady. We took the photo from the back, and it is just projected from your traditional projector onto the back of the screen, and then the folks that you see, the gentleman holding the briefcase with the sport coat and pink shirt, he and the lady next to him are staring at the front of it. We took a photo from the back to kind of be able to tell this story of how they're doing it, and the vendor in this instance, how they're promoting this is how creative do you want to be? She talked about Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart in NASCAR later this year, they'll be rolling it out with the NASCAR circuit that Tony Stewart will be introducing some brands or some marketing to people.
Right. So you have this set up in an instance, possibly at the entrance to the line if you're quick service. It may be at the entrance if it's table service while people are waiting to be seated. And you have, to your point, the CEO delivering a message, an attractive person delivering the message, an opportunity to enhance the brand.
Yeah, and one of the other things that they do is that in front of the lady that you might not be able to see, it's like a white stand out in front there, is they have the ability to do it in multi-languages as well. So if you're in a high touristy area, you want to do it in Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, French, Italian, you can have buttons in front there where it's playing your message in all of those different languages as well.
Right.